You know what you should do? You should follow me on Twitter at Bromo018. Link in the description. Do it now. After the conclusion of our FIFA 20 career mode wishlist, it's time to shift our focus onto other areas of the game. This time around, I'm going to be putting forward some of my suggestions for the leagues and divisions that I'd like to see added come FIFA 20. Surprisingly, a couple of the leagues that I suggested last year during my FIFA 19 wishlist were actually added. I know, shocking isn't it? The Chinese Superleague was added, and also my Rest of Europe League suggestion came into play with EA obtaining the UEFA licenses to the Champions League and Europa League. So, maybe there's some hope yet. As always, remember that not every league that I want to see added will be in this video, so make sure that you leave your suggestions for the new leagues that you'd like to see added in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you. Just before we start, I recently started a realistic Ajax career mode series on ultimate difficulty on this channel, so if you're interested, then you should definitely go and check out that after watching this video. However, with that in mind, it's time to get into our suggestions. So, let's begin. So we start off with the English 5th tier. I know it as the Conference, but it's currently known as the Vanarama National League. Plenty of English football fans have been after this for a while. If anything, it gives career mode players an even greater challenge when doing a Road to Glory save, because they can then start from a lower level and have to climb up more leagues. I feel like the licensing wouldn't be much of a problem for EA Sports, because surely the National League will be desperate to raise the reputation and bring more revenue into the system. Also, apart from Football Manager, there is no other game that contains the full licenses to these leagues. So hopefully, this can be done. Next up, I'd like to see 2 second tier leagues added, and they are the Scottish Championship and the Eredivisie 2 of Holland. This is something that's going to add more depth to career mode saves for people playing as a team in either of those countries. For the Scottish Championship in particular, I know this has become a big topic during the last few months, since Konami announced that they had secured the licence to the Scottish Premiership. The talk from fans now is whether Konami or EA Sports are going to make the move to try and ultimately secure support from football in that country by going one step further and obtaining the licenses for the lower leagues in Scotland. I feel like we really need to be reaching a point now where both FIFA and PES need to have more than one league in each country's footballing pyramid. Players want depth and a range of selection. This is the sort of thing that helps them achieve that. The next 2 divisions that I want to see added is that of the likes of the 3rd tiers in both Italy and Spain. These are the Serie C and the Segunda Division B respectively. Now, there are a few reasons that led me to believe that we may actually see these in FIFA sooner rather than later. For a start, we recently saw the addition of the 3rd German division into the game, something that was only present in the English leagues beforehand. So this does suggest that EA are perhaps actively looking to add the lower leagues, at least in the top 5 European League countries. In addition, EA recently showed some steps towards investing in the leagues in both Spain and Italy. For Spain, they added almost all of the stadiums for each La Liga team into the game, something which had only been done in the Premier League beforehand. Meanwhile in Italy, they obtained the official licence of the Serie A League, and it was also stated by the official league Serie B Twitter page that there were talks with EA regarding the licences for that division also. With this in mind, it suggests that they are perhaps investing in football within countries like this, and that they are going to continue to try and increase the authenticity of the leagues within each nation. Let me know what you guys think about that, by the way. Do you reckon that perhaps we could be in store for the 3rd divisions in the likes of Spain, Italy and France, etc.? Get at me in the comment section. Now, we move on to our next suggestion for a new league, and that's the Greek Superleague. Now, when I did my new league's wishlist last year for FIFA 19, I suggested adding the Greek League in that one as well, and the response I had to it was by far the most popular. It was clear that plenty of people also want to see Greece's league represented in FIFA. Currently, FIFA has 4 Greek teams in the game, being AK Athens, Olympiakos, Panathinaikos and PAOK. For me, it seems so strange to just have these random 4 teams without anything behind them. What if people wanted to start a career mode with them? Or what if they want to make a Greek League team on Ultimate Team? Anything like this just goes out the window. It's been like this for many years now, and there has been no change. Either you invest in that market, or you may as well just pull it all together and invest that money elsewhere. Now, I imagine EA's response to this would be something along the lines of, well, they're the most popular clubs in Greece, so we're just getting those teams in the game to try and attract those fan bases. But how highly attractive is that really going to be if they can't do much with those licenses? If they can't even play in their own league or can't play against some of the other rival teams, then fans of the club can't do much with that experience. You do this to test the market, and I believe that the market and the demand is there. So act upon it, and let's get the entire Greek Super League into FIFA. Last year, I also went into detail about having a Rest of Europe League. Well, with EA obtaining the licenses of the likes of the Champions League and Europa League, there isn't as much need for it anymore. However, I still think there's plenty of demand for the likes of big European teams that aren't in European competitions to be in FIFA. So, with that in mind, I would once again like to see a Rest of Europe League added, much like they have a Rest of the World section. With this also comes the ability to mix up the Champions League participants, whether you're playing career mode or a regular tournament. This would simply make it more interesting and slightly less repetitive because you have more realistic Champions League participants to pick from. Building on from that, something else that I'd like to talk about is a Rest of Africa League. This is something that I spoke about recently on my PES 2020 wishlist, and I feel like it really is worth the beginning of a debate. I think it's strange that neither EA or Konami have made any real attempt to penetrate the African football market. After all, it's a massive potential market that is yet to be controlled by our footballing franchise game. Why is this? The furthest EA have gone is adding just a couple of teams in the likes of Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. But they haven't built on that. With my Rest of Africa League's proposal, you don't have to try and obtain the licenses for a whole host of African leagues across the continent and then have to invest large amounts into the scouting infrastructure without knowing what the potential results are. Instead, you pick 1, 2, maybe 3 teams from a few African countries like Egypt, South Africa, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, etc. and then just put them into one Rest of Africa League. Perhaps they're the biggest clubs with the biggest fan bases so that you can get the most reach out of them. It doesn't really matter. Then you give fans of African football and people within that market a much more thorough and better option to experience football from the continent. Then EA have the option to gauge a response from the customers about whether or not they like this edition and analyse the data to see if enough people are playing it to warrant making further investment into African football. It has to be worth a try in my opinion. I know there are plenty of people that want to see this happen. Moving on from that, we're going to go slightly different now with our next suggestion, and that is youth leagues. The beauty of this is it perhaps wouldn't require any additional licensing fees, at least not to my knowledge. Plus, there are a lot of younger players that are in the youth ranks already on the game for the majority of clubs on FIFA, so there wouldn't be a whole lot of players that would need adding either. It would give players another option to play, something else, and at least experience something different. Maybe most of the games are played at training grounds behind closed doors, and therefore you get that different feeling when you play which we aren't really used to on FIFA. I'd like to know what you guys think about that suggestion, and whether or not you think that you would play games with Youth League teams if it were to be added. Let me know in the comment section down below. And for our final suggestion, we have the Romanian League. Now, in my wishlist video last year, this league, along with the Greek Super League, was by far the most requested. I had so many comments from you guys saying how you wanted the Romanian League to be added into the game. This does suggest to me that the market and demand for the league is there. With the addition of the UEFA licenses, we do now have 1 or 2 Romanian teams in the game, but it doesn't stop there. Let's get this one in the game also. As many leagues as possible if what the fans want. So that brings this video to an end, guys. If you've made it through this far, then thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more regular gaming content. Remember to follow me on Twitter using the handle @Bromo018. The link is in the description. And also check out my FIFA 19 Ajax Career Mode series that is currently ongoing if you're yet to. On that note, it's time to finish it there. So, I'm Bromo18, and I'll see you soon.